So, you are contemplating a property purchase in France. You have surrendered heart and soul to the dream. Yes, yes, yes. We all know the dream. In your head, you are sitting in a sunbeam eating cheese that smells like a damp cellar but tastes like redemption, while a man named Jacques plays the accordion to Emily the goat. You want character, but character is estate agent code for the roof is held up by gravity and the ghost of a disappointed structural engineer. You want rustic charm, but rustic charm means the electricity was installed in 1952 by a badger with a drinking problem. For you see, that French country house you wish to buy is not just a house. It is a hostage situation with a grumpy elderly relative that demands money and hates change. Pour yourself a drink, a very large and strong one, because today we are doing 10 quirks only French homeowners will experience. Number 1. DIY the geometry of madness. First, you survey your domain. You look at the walls and you realize something unsettling. Euclid has been stopped at the border. Here, everything leans. The floor tilts gently to the left, presumably a brilliantly advanced architectural feature designed to help the wine roll in the direction of the sofa. And the wiring, you ask? Well, it was routed by a squirrel on a double espresso during the Charles de Gaulle presidency. You will find a light switch behind a heavy wardrobe, and when you flick it, the toaster turns on in the neighbor's house. You want to fix it? No. To fix it, you need a French artisan, and they are mythical creatures like honest politicians. You see, you have to lure them with coffee and promises of long lunches. And so, as you do, you adapt. You learn to walk at a 15-degree list. You learn that to turn on the bathroom light, you must stomp your foot 3 times and whistle La Marseillaise. It keeps you humble. Number 2, the kitchen heist. You get the keys. You are trembling with excitement. You walk into the kitchen to make your first cup of tea. But then you stop because the kitchen has been abducted. In most of the sensible world, when you buy a house, you assume the cupboards stay attached to the walls. It is a basic social contract. In France, au contraire, mon ami, unless the sale contract explicitly said the kitchen is staying, the seller may legally have looted the joint. They may have taken the oven. They may have unscrewed the sink. You are left standing in a tiled room with a single copper pipe sticking out of the wall like a mocking finger. So, your first week in France is not spent sipping wine. It is spent camping indoors, washing a single plate in the bathtub, wondering if the previous owners also took the wine cellar. Number 3, the lonely toilet. Now, let us discuss le petit coin, the little corner. In many countries, the toilet and the sink are friends. They coexist. They are a team. In France, no. In rural homes, the toilet is often a pariah. It might be placed in a windowless cupboard, usually next to the front door or under the stairs. It is a solitary confinement cell for the bowel. In other words, all you get is a toilet seat and a calendar from 1998 featuring, of course, a tractor. Where is the sink then? It is in a different postcode. You finish your business and then you have to embark on a walk of shame through the hallway, touching door handles with your contaminated claws, searching for a tap. The rural French toilet is not a bathroom. It is a hygiene obstacle course, and it is on a mission to teach you planning. Number 4, shutters, the national defense system. Ah, les volets, the shutters. You think they are decorative, you think they are quaint, you naive butterfly. In France, shutters are doctrine. There is a rhythm to life here. Morning, you throw them open to greet the world. Bonjour, sun. Bonjour, cows. Evening, you must barricade yourself as if the English archers are returning to Agincourt. If you leave them open at night, the village will talk. Did you see the foreigner? His shutters were open at 9 p.m. Is he dead? Is he signaling to aliens? Here, shutters develop personalities. One will squeak, one will refuse to latch unless you flatter it in flawless subjunctive French. But eventually, you become part of the collective clack, clack sound of the village. It is, after all, the heartbeat of France. If you are in the UK and you are currently in the I want to buy in France but my brain is full of tabs phase, there is actually a very civilized way to move the whole thing forward. The French property show is on at Cheltenham Racecourse this April on the 11th and the 12th. And it really is a proper one-stop shop for anyone looking to make the move to France without spending 6 months getting contradictory advice from a man called Steve in a Facebook group. You've got a great selection of French estate agents covering the popular regions, visa specialists who can guide you through the requirements, and even a French notaire, which is a rare and beautiful opportunity to ask serious buying questions before you are sitting in a 3-hour document audio book. They will also have financial advisors, currency experts, removals, education, insurance, plus free seminars, including sessions on the actual buying process in France. It is informal. You can actually talk to people properly. You will not be rushed. And so it is the perfect first step if your dream is starting to look suspiciously like an Excel spreadsheet with feelings. And if you want the details and to book free tickets, I've put a link in the description. Right, back to your dream house. Number 5, the VMC, the phantom hum. In the absolute silence of the countryside, you might think the only audible sound should be an owl humming La vie en rose. No, as soon as you move into your new French dream, you hear it. A low electronic drone. This is the VMC, Ventilation Mécanique Contrôlée. It is a machine in the attic. It sucks the air out of your house. Can I turn it off? Your innocent soul is asking. No, there is no switch. It is hardwired into the fabric of reality. The electrician simply laughed when you asked, a deep, chest-rattling laugh that smelled of Gauloise cigarettes. And if you try to block the vents, French people will scream, "The damp will take you, the mold will eat your children." For the VMC is the house's lungs. It runs 24/7, and it has been doing so since the dawn of time. You end up accepting your fate, and you start harmonizing with it in D minor. Number 6, the septic tank, the beast beneath. City people have sewers. Country people have la fosse septique, the septic tank. It sounds romantic, doesn't it? Like a perfume. Eau de fosse by Jean-Luc Frenchy Frenchman. No, it is a biological entity buried in your garden. You have to feed it. You have to pour yogurt down the toilet to keep the bacteria happy. You are, essentially, catering a dinner party for a subterranean monster that lives on your waste. And then the septic tank inspector comes. He is the most powerful man in France. He arrives unannounced, of course. He lifts the lid. He surveys the sludge like a sommelier smelling a cork from a 1982 Bordeaux. He nods. You pass. You have never felt such pride. You are the master of your own effluent. Number 7. The heating, a theoretical concept. Let's talk about thermal comfort. French stone houses are built to stay cool in summer. This is brilliant in July and August. For the rest of the year, you are living in a fridge. You do have a fireplace, though. It looks majestic. It is big enough to roast a wild boar. But when you light it, 90% of the heat goes up the chimney to warm the clouds, and the other 10% smokes you like a herring. You learn to dress in layers. You look less like a homeowner and more like a pile of laundry that has gained self-awareness. You don't have central heating. You have zones of survival near the radiators. You run from one to the other. It keeps you fit, and that's how you realize your country home comes with a bonus: cardio for the hypothermic. Number 8. The mystery room, aka the void. Most French country houses have the room. It is on the floor plan. It has walls, but it defies explanation. It is too small for a bedroom, it is too damp for a pantry, and it has a tiny window that looks out onto a brick wall. What is it? Was it for a servant? A flock of sheep? You try to use it. You put a desk in there. The desk looks sad and eventually gets depressed. You put boxes in there. They go moldy out of spite. Eventually, you just close the door. It is the pièce of mystery. You never speak of it again and never mention its existence, like an English real estate agent who pretends to be an expert at French real estate. You are aware of its existence. It is there somewhere in your peripheral vision, but ultimately it is where the house keeps its secrets and its spiders. Number 9. The Notaire, or the marathon of boredom. Buying the house involved the signing. You thought this would be quick. A signature, a handshake, a glass of champagne, perhaps? No. You sit in a room with the Notaire. He is wearing a suit that costs more than your car. He has a document the size of the Bible, and he reads it aloud. All of it. He reads the land registry numbers. He reads the history of the previous owners back to Napoleon. And in 1842, the neighbor, Monsieur Dupont, was granted the right to walk his goose, Brigitte, across the driveway. It takes 3 hours. Your soul leaves your body. You just keep saying oui at intervals to prove you haven't slipped into a coma. It is the most expensive audiobook in history. And number 10, the soundtrack, rural techno. You moved here for the peace and quiet. Well, the French countryside can be louder than a heavy metal concert. It starts with the church bells. They ring the hour. Then, 2 minutes later, they ring it again, just in case you forgot what time it was 120 seconds ago. Then the animals. Roosters do not just crow at dawn, they crow whenever they have an existential crisis, which is constantly, because remember, they are French after all. And the pièce de résistance, the vans, the baker's van, the butcher's van. They drive through the village honking a horn that sounds like a clown car falling down stairs. I have sausages! And yet, after a while, the silence of the city seems wrong. You need the chaos. You need the bells. It is the soundtrack of being alive. And finally, the secret quirky thing. It's you. You change. You develop strong opinions about baguette density. You stop rushing. Why rush? The post office is closed. It's always closed. It is a theoretical post office. One day you find yourself shrugging. not a little shrug, a full body shrug involving your shoulders, your eyebrows, and your mouth making a pff sound. You have been assimilated. You are one with the stones. So, is it worth it? The missing kitchen, the lonely toilet, the yogurt-eating septic tank? Of course it is, because in a world of glass, steel and efficiency, you live in a place that has a soul. Granted, a grumpy, damp, confusing soul, but a soul nonetheless. It drives you mad, but it is a beautiful madness. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have to go close the shutters. The neighbors are watching. Thank you very much for watching. I love you all.
Nala, no, et, no. Nala, no, et.